here's Brody Brazil.
Hey, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to this very unintentional recurring series that I've been doing here on YouTube. I promise you, I never meant for this to be a thing, but it's been popular. Hopefully it's been informational and educational as well as entertaining the entire time. It's me taking a look at Las Vegas media as they cover potential relocation of the Oakland A's to Southern Nevada. And I've said it before, I need to say it again. I'm not trying to be anybody's journalism professor here. This is not a media studies course by any means, but it's so fascinating and it's so relevant right now to see how the other side is covering what's happening and to get their feel and their perspective on what's going on. So without further delay, let's begin with Channel 8, the CBS affiliate in Las Vegas. And I love their animations here. Whoa!
An effort to build a baseball stadium in Las Vegas has a lot of hurdles to get over.
Wait, sorry. Do you see the temperature in Lake Mead today? 989 degrees on the bottom of your screen? No, I know. It's like a Freudian typo right there. In fairness, let me start this one again. I gotta see that one more time.
An effort to build a baseball stadium in Las Vegas has a lot of hurdles to get over before it becomes a reality. Right now, the plan would be to put it where the Tropicana Hotel Casino sits. We take a look at what would need to happen before that can become reality.
You mean even before that logo on the screen becomes a reality that Channel 8 made a long time ago? Look, they've already run with this. So anyway, let's go.
The first hurdle was last night's hearing on $380 million in public financing for the stadium project.
And by the way, this is probably the plainest and easiest way to spell it out. It's so complicated. Money from a couple different places, but $380 million of public funding, 180 from the state, 145 from Clark County. And I realize if you do that math, it doesn't all still add up, but this is probably the most simple way to depict it on a screen.
The legislative session ends next Monday at midnight, and before then, it will have to get approved by two committees, the State Senate and the State Assembly. Otherwise, it would have to happen in a special session. Now, the deal currently has the support of the culinary and construction unions as well as Clark County. Tina Quigley from the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance says taxpayers will get the money back eventually.
It is money that is gifted up front, but it does come back. And even if they were to pack up and go away, and
it does come back eventually. Did you notice the way eventually was spelled out there is like, this is going to take a while. But again, nature of a big project, to be fair. But I think you have to set the scene here of instant expectations versus long-term hopes.
Have got stopgaps in the legislation that would protect the public. So I do feel like our legislators, our county leaders have done a good job at making sure that the public is protected.
Democratic Assemblyman Howard Watts asked if this is the right project for a valuable Las Vegas Strip location.
Any other development idea for this site, if this were not in play, would likely probably bring in as much or more than the Tropicana does in its current state. It's kind of the A's of the Strip.
The bill only needs a simple majority to pass.
By the way, that was the zinger of the meeting the other day. And that point is valid that, the Tropicana site is going to have jobs no matter what. Whether it's the old Tropicana, whether it's torn down and completely rebuilt with or without a stadium, that site is going to produce tax revenue, jobs, a lot of success. It's at the busiest intersection of Las Vegas and Nevada and the West, and one of the busiest intersections in the country. Let me go back because I think something important was said here that I just missed here.
It's kind of the A's of the Strip.
The bill only needs a simple majority to pass.
Simple majority to pass. Literally one more vote yes than no, and that's all it needs. And let me just go back here one more second. They keep showing, and this is part of it. This is part of being in media and projecting something that's accurate. I'm pretty sure that's Oracle Park right there, the overlay of Oracle Park, which is photoshopped and cut out. And even since, this story has come out, real renderings exist now. And when I say real renderings which may not be the most accurate in the world, kind of like how some people have a profile picture on Facebook that, doesn't exactly look like them in real life. They look a little bit different when you see them, but that's the same situation here. Like, they could have used the renderings, but even still, this is a much bigger ballpark ratio-wise and scale-wise for this 35-acre plot of land, that takes up way more than just 9 acres. If you tried to fit that in the bottom right corner, I do not think that would fit, let alone the fact that it's not even placed in the right location on that plot of land. So again, I mean, sometimes it's what media says, sometimes it's what they visually show people. And to see that, oh, attractive, big, bold, in the right spot, where I would expect it. But in reality, that's not even close.
Now, at a 30,000-seat capacity, it would be the smallest major league ballpark.
By about 4,000 to 5,000 seats, right? And I'm going to do a whole separate video on the 30,000 problem. When you set the bar, when you put the ceiling that low on 30,000, when you have nights where you don't get that much attendance, you can't make up for it with a 42 or 45,000 like they can in Seattle. But I digress. That's already prepared for a different video, which you'll eventually see.
The economic projections are based on a near sellout of 28,000 fans for all 81 home games.
Whoa. I mean, and I've realized that math too, but that is, who does that? Who sells out every single game, even at 28 to 30,000? Revenue's based on 28,081 times.
It would be the smallest major league ballpark. The economic projections are based on a near sellout of 28,000 fans for all 81 home games.
A near sellout for every single home game. I don't have time to look it up right now, but in the history of Major League Baseball, how many times has that happened? What cities has that happened in? And what were the circumstances of why that happened? I just, projections versus reality here. And look, good on Channel 8 for saying that and covering that. I just hope the viewers and you are catching this right now and seeing how there's a reason that's never happened before. And I know this is Las Vegas, but it's also Las Vegas and not New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles.
In 2022, the Oakland A's had an average attendance of only about 10,000 fans. To date, out of the nearly 2,400 online opinions submitted on the bill, 78% oppose it.
And sorry, didn't mean to cut her off there, but the percentage has not changed. Those votes have continued to go up, and it's holding steady. That public opinion on the Nevada legislator page, it's about 80% no, 20% yes. It started that way with 300 votes. Now I think it's approaching 3,000 votes as I'm recording this. So just gives you an idea that does exist. And I get it. It's an online form. I think you do have to prove you're a Nevada resident. And I think they probably, I would hope that they go and cross-check that. If the state's putting that out, I would hope that they're like vetting it correctly. But it gives you an idea. Again, public really doesn't have a say in this. They don't have a vote in this. They have a say, but not a vote. But you may get a situation where the lawmakers decide one way and they go against a heavy public opinion the other way.
There are a lot of questions that need to be answered, such as how the traffic on that busy corner would be handled.
That's a whole different topic. I've brought that up before, and I can't wait to see how it's addressed. There was really nothing in the way of research in the presentation on Monday that ever covered that or maybe satisfied that. They talked about the Boring Company and the Las Vegas Loop tunnel system, the one-lane tunnel system, one lane each way, and how there would be 2 stops at the Tropicana site. But, I mean, I'll say this again, if you thought a gondola was a bad idea to bring people in and out of a ballpark, a tunnel system is even way worse. Yeah.
If the bill passes, the other baseball team owners would need to waive the relocation fees for the A's.
Oh, which is also another story and another angle that I will be doing a video on here. It seemed for the longest time that Rob Manfred, last summer, it was about June, that it came out, it kind of leaked. First off, it was said that a relocation fee is $1 billion. It's not that. Expansion is like $2 billion, we think. Then it came out at the winter meetings that Rob Manfred, he said he would waive a relocation fee. And again, he was speaking on behalf of all the owners who would have to vote on this and make the decision. He said relocation fee, if there was a public-private partnership in Las Vegas, that the A's would have their relocation fee waived. However, we heard in the hearing on Monday from the A's representative that that's not confirmed. First off, the number is now being quoted at $300 million of relocation. And if that's a $300 million additional cost that nobody was expecting, and the A's are just getting $380 to finish this project, the A's are basically saying we can't do this unless we get $380 of public money. Well, what if now there's an additional $300 or more tacked on by Major League Baseball owners? Yes, you can move, but yes, you also have to pay that fee. What's that going to do to the project, even after all of the political and financial and legal things are set in Las Vegas? What if baseball says yes but no, or flat out no? Anyway, that's the end of that one. Okay, ABC 13.
Las Vegas has proven itself as a professional sports town.
And I believe this is a representative from the governor's office, Governor Joseph Lombardo's office, and I forget this person's name here.
And we believe that adding Major League Baseball to Las Vegas Boulevard is the next logical step in that evolution.
Will the MLB play ball in Las Vegas?
Sorry, the MLB? And I look, I promised I wasn't going to go super critical here, but every time I hear the MLB, it's the NFL, it's the NBA, it's the NHL, but it's not the Major League Baseball. Do I need to hear it one more time?
Boulevard is the next logical step in that evolution.
Will the MLB play ball in Las Vegas? The answer to that question, relying on Senate Bill 509.
We are here this afternoon to hear the Southern Nevada Tourism Innovation Act.
Despite news about the possibility of the Oakland A's making Las Vegas home base.
Home base? Look, I get not everybody's a sports person. This is a news channel. I know I'm being very particular here. I'm sorry, but you caught that one too, right? And I get it, home base. But there's no, home base is where you call home, but there is no home base in baseball.
Innovation Act.
Despite news about the possibility of the Oakland A's making Las Vegas home base.
And I apologize to the reporter doing this story. I'm not, please, I'm not trying to be that way. It's just.
Most wanted to know who will pick up the tab for a brand new state-of-the-art ballpark.
We also believe that this is a fiscally responsible financing package. Critically, it contains no new taxes imposed against the residents of Nevada or our guests.
It just kind of takes away from taxes on the property that it was going to produce, like if it were just the Tropicana. A valuable, tax-producing 35 acres, prime real estate. And it takes a lot of that and sends it to build the stadium.
Proposed plans show the A's are looking to build a lavish stadium with 30,000 seats, a retractable roof.
Let me just say this. I was thinking about this. I know people say, well, wait a second. Isn't that how it was going to work at Howard Terminal? Well, twofold here. Number one, it was my belief that the way Howard Terminal worked was that the city of Oakland and the county of Alameda were going to benefit from property tax increases because of all the new development there. And the first thing is Howard Terminal as a site right now produces like $10,000 a year in property tax revenue. It's a dormant, unused site in terms of anything financially productive. I mean, the rest of the port, don't get me wrong, does their thing. The 55 acres at Howard Terminal, not exactly productive. So it is apples and oranges here when I say that. This is already a super busy and a super productive intersection. Howard Terminal is not. Has not been for a while, is not right now. That's the difference right there, is the tax money that doesn't exist and that wouldn't exist if nothing happens. Like, if nothing happens here, Tropicana is still productive. If nothing happens at Howard Terminal, it's not tax productive.
City views on the current site of the Tropicana Hotel. The cost? A whopping $1.5 billion and counting.
And by the way, I do believe that this would be, I think Yankee Stadium was also close to $1.5 billion. I don't know that there's too many other big league ballparks costing $1.5 billion, at least in this last, obviously, prices have gone up in this last century. And that kind of begs a question. Wait, you're building the most expensive ballpark in the country, and you're also building significantly the smallest ballpark in the country.
I'm just going to put it out there. I'm at a no, almost a hell no. So y'all have to get me to a yes.
That was one of the strongest statements the other day kind of a, one that really caught your ears.
Here's the budget breakdown. The A's are expected to put no less than $1.1 billion into the project. Meantime, $180 million would come from the state. Clark County would contribute another $145 million, and $25 million would be generated by a tax district in the area surrounding the proposed site.
And that's a good way to break it down, too, because the $25 million from the county is all about infrastructure. That's the $25 million. The $145 million from Clark County is all bonds, general obligation bonds, and the $180 million from the state of Nevada is transferable tax credits. And there's a limit to how much you can use per year. Look at me, the sports guide on this topic, but it's basically like a tax gift card. You don't want to pay your taxes? Turn in the tax gift card. Oh, you can pay your taxes, but the A's want to take that value and cash it in somewhere else. Oh, here, construction company, here's a gift card for the state of Nevada for $10 million of taxes that you don't own. So the A's aren't getting direct money. They're essentially getting a gift card for taxes in the state of Nevada to the tune of $180 million. That's what they're asking for.
We're asking Nevadans to put in a huge amount for one of the smallest stadiums. Why the huge cost for a much smaller stadium?
I didn't mean to steal her thunder. She just said what I had said earlier. Like we're on the same wavelength there.
Some of it just has to do with time, right? Things are more expensive now than they were before.
That's true. Does it make it a good time to go in on that investment? Do you feel like you have to do this here now today? I get it. Prices are only going up, but if they're exponentially higher right now, I don't know. People thought that maybe that was the reason Howard Terminal wasn't moved on even quicker. Inflation, cost of things. So if it wasn't a good idea there, is it a good idea here? I don't know. I got to be fair about asking that question.
Currently, the A's have the worst record and lowest attendance in Major League Baseball.
There's always, by the way, in all these stories, there's always this part of it. Oh, yeah, and about the A's, there's nobody going to their games, and they're the worst team historically, having a historically bad season on the field.
Supporters of the bill say Las Vegas could change that.
Las Vegas could change the attendance. Well, is it because of the location or the success of the team or how much will be invested in the payroll? Let's listen to this part again.
The A's have the worst record and lowest attendance in Major League Baseball. Supporters of the bill say Las Vegas could change that.
There has to be a competitive winning team to draw folks to the Las Vegas Strip.
Right? About 70% of the folks we expect to be in the seats are locals.
Accessibility was also a big talking point at the meeting, with the biggest concern being traffic in an already congested area.
So in that, I'll say this. I mean, I keep bringing it up. I don't know if it's fair for me to be the guy to say, oh, well, how are you going to do this? Is this like a choke point at a very, already bottlenecked intersection from the airport to the rest of the Strip? I mean, that's for others to decide. I'm just saying, me as like a bystander here, I have not seen anything produced on how this goes, how many cars go through here, what would you expect for a baseball game? How would you make sure that this is not an absolute disaster for this ballpark and for everything else around Las Vegas? Could you imagine if this was not properly researched and vetted? I mean, Las Vegas has a lot to risk up that street, up Las Vegas Boulevard. You go north, and if this is going to pinch off, like cut off circulation of traffic, whoa.
Yeah. Aside from walking, it was noted that parking garages surrounding the Tropicana site would allow for an easy commute, and the planned boring company Vegas Loop is expected to open stations on the northwest corner and southeast corner of the ballpark site.
That's the end of the story. So wait, that little green rectangle bottom right. Now the top left, maybe, again, this was not depicted in the rendering. You think it would have been if there was true synergy and collaboration. This makes me think that the renderings that came out are a bit dated because this is only recent and new information. What Bally's wants to do with building a new Tropicana, that's only more recent information. The 9 acres is only recent information. I think those renderings that are out there are 6 months to a year old. They've been sitting on somebody's computer. That's my guess. I don't know it for sure, but that's my educated guess. Because now, how do you put a loop station? Does that mean cars and or people are going from underground to above ground and back? But the ballpark is going to be, it needs every square foot of space on that southeast corner right there. So How do you put a station there? I guess top left, northwest corner, maybe you can, but all of this just doesn't. We're saying we're going to fit all these things here. And I don't know that there's actual space logistically to do it. Remember, there are 7 retractable roof stadiums across Major League Baseball. None of them fit on 9 acres. The next closest is American Family Field in Milwaukee, 11.71 acres, almost 3 more acres to fit a retractable roof stadium. You can't. It's just never been done on 9 acres before. And now you're going to throw loop stations and 3 hotel high rises around this. Yeah. I just got a lot of questions. Okay, another one here from ABC 13.
And the question remains tonight, will the Oakland A's get public money for a proposed $1.5 billion ballpark right there on the Las Vegas Strip? Well, supporters are attempting to get Senate Bill 509 through the state's legislature.
That's right. After a 6-hour public hearing on Monday in Carson City, we're waiting for what comes next. Here's what we know right now. Up next for the bill is a vote by the Senate Finance Committee, which has 8 members, 5 Democrats and 3 Republicans.
And I do appreciate that level of detail, the background, the political side of this. There is a little partisan angle to this. By the way, if the state budget doesn't get squared away, and as I record this, it's not, nothing else can also fall into place, including this A's ballpark public funding request.
Including State Senator Robin Titus, who opposes the bill. She told Channel 13 today that she does think the ballpark will become a reality, though it could go either way at this point.
I'm a betting person, and so if I want to bet, I'm going to bet that it's going to pass. But anything can happen in this building.
You know, I watched Senator Titus have a comment the other day, and I believe Senator Titus was the one who said she was a pilot and was talking about the FAA stuff, so that instantly resonated with me. I want to just go back here to what she said and how she said it. I mean, this is somebody on the inside. And somebody who knows the other voters and who knows politics inside and out. I mean, this is somebody with a lot of expertise. And
either way,
the opinion seems to be that the betting person might suggest that this is going to pass, just based on what was presented the other day.
This point.
Here we go.
I'm a betting person, and so if I want to bet, I'm going to bet that it's going to pass. But anything can happen in this building.
I mean, and that's kind of how I felt at the end of Monday. There were enough holes poked in 509. There was enough cookies out there for, politicians and lawmakers to feel like, ooh, I'm just enticed by this. You won me over. So there was no clear-cut answer one way or the other. And I think her answer was trying to say, if I'm hedging one way, they might pass it. But I'm not entirely sure. I don't want to speak for anybody, but you saw the clip too.
As of now, no upcoming hearings for the bill have been set. The legislative session ends on Monday, 6 days from now.
And as lawmakers weigh the pros and cons of Senate Bill 509, Las Vegas residents and local stakeholders are also weighing in.
Kelsey McFarland is here to break down where the bill finds support and who's in opposition. Kelsey?
Hey guys, well, there's no shortage of strong opinions when it comes to a new stadium for the A's. Dozens of locals and business representatives all speaking out during Monday's public testimony, and they voted in legislative online pool. Some sent in some letters. So far, the polling shows the majority of the public does not support the stadium financing bill as it stands. This poll is on the Nevada legislature website.
It's the one we talked about before, about 3,000 votes now. And the percentages at this point, when it was screenshotted, 78% opposing it.
It shows nearly 80% of people who voted are not in favor of Senate Bill 509, the Oakland A's proposed stadium funding bill. 20% support it. Among those in favor, the Governor's Office of Economic Development, the Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce.
Surprise! I mean, no, these are the parties you would expect to support it.
We need to continue to invest in world-class infrastructure projects that will ensure we are staying ahead of our competitors.
And several local unions excited about the possibility of job growth.
This legislation presents yet another opportunity for the creation of good-paying union jobs in our state.
Going back to the comment about staying ahead of our competitors, like who's competing with Las Vegas for tourism? No. I know you're thinking like Orlando, Hawaii, people go to Southern California, but like Las Vegas is its own specific thing. Like stay ahead of the curve. No, I get it. Like they do have to keep innovating. I also understand that people will not come back maybe for the same thing all the time, but to say that there's really anybody, you're only competing with yourself at some point. That's what I guess I'm trying to say here. Like Las Vegas, there's nothing like it. And people know that. Californians know that. People from Illinois know that. People from Kentucky know that. So, yeah, that one just stands out to me.
Still, the opposition remains majority.
This deal will leave taxpayers on the hook.
Most of the disagreement comes down to the price tag and who is tasked with paying it. Taxpayers like Lisa Lee are okay with a new stadium as long as she's not paying the tab.
I think that should be paid for through bonds, private funding, fundraising of some sort, but not from taxpayers' dollars.
And to be fair, it is from the county side, is going to be paid back or paid for by bonds, but bonds that are paid back with public money and tax money that would have gone to the general fund.
Also in opposition, the Nevada Policy Research Institute and several education associations who want public funds going to teachers.
By the way, all those documents you just saw flash up on the screen, those are all publicly available on the SB 509 specific website for the legislature in Nevada.
Why can't a billionaire do this on his own if it's so innovative? And as we've heard tonight, why can't we simply fund a 20% raise from the state level for our educators in Nevada?
And you are still able to make your voice heard on SB 509. The Nevada Legislature website is still taking public opinions online. We have a link posted on our website right now. It's at ktnv.com. In studio, I'm Kelsey McFarland.
All right, Kelsey, appreciate that. Okay, I don't know if this is the last one here, but now we're actually getting into sports radio. And let me just say this, from Cofield and Company, the radio program on ESPN 1100 AM and 100.9 FM, typically I've been sticking with the news media here because I do understand, or it's my impression that they understand the political side of this, the structure side of this, hopefully the financial side of this. They've got some of the away from sports perspectives. But I also want to say here, I do think it is relevant to hear from true sports people with a sports vibe in Las Vegas, like boots on the ground in Las Vegas. Because if a stadium is going to necessitate 70% of local attendees, it's important what these sports people have to say about it. I caught this clip on YouTube.
I hate the way this looks. 100% hate the way this looks.
We'll get back to it later in the show. I'm not spoiling the Knights' day.
This was right after... This is right after the Golden Knights advanced to the Stanley Cup final for the second time in their, 6-year history? And so there's two big stories going on right now. Golden Knights doing their thing. They're the homegrown child of Las Vegas. And then there's the whole A's stadium thing, which is kind of clouding their day, it seems like.
And our happiness to cover a good story for the A's and what they did yesterday. And apparently what many politicians are going to jump on board for. And, the sad thing is, will there be repercussions? Will people pay them back with their votes? No, because not enough people here pay attention. And again, I'm wide open. We'll get some of the public servant supporters. We'll get a couple of the detractors on as well. We'll get some more numbers people on this week. I really don't want to bog people down with a story, though, that is probably inevitable no matter what we talk about. So we're here to inform the public. But honestly, a lot of the stuff I saw yesterday, and people were pointing out some of the slides with just outright lies.
I mean, this is the sports community. You always want another team. If you have the chance to land Major League Baseball, and Major League people have said, does Las Vegas need the A's more, or do the A's need Las Vegas more? And I'm sorry, Cofield. That must be Cofield on the right, and Company must be on the left. I don't know both of their names. I'm sorry, I'm just not familiar with the program, but I'm understanding that this is the way it's being spelled out. It's just sports people, to generalize all of us, we're all usually in favor of more sports teams coming to our town.
The A's are so interested in selling this as a low cost deal. Look what we're doing for you, right? You remember we probably don't have the bite anymore. You remember the commercial that ran for Allegiant Stadium?
Oh, yeah.
Right. And it was
your stadium.
Yeah. This is all for you, Vegas.
That's right. Yeah.
And the A's are trying to go down the same path. Hey, we've got a low cost deal here. We're almost putting nothing into it. But it's always the stuff on the back end. Mm-hmm. It's always the savings in taxes that they don't have to pay.
So, Cofield here is going off on projections and the long-term reality. Remember, you saw the interview in studio on one of the news channels that said, yes, this is a long-term payback deal, and that's exactly what Cofield is hitting on.
anyone out there who believes that the numbers the A's are throwing out are entirely true, that would mean they're walking away from a much, 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 much better deal in the Bay Area. Now, who actually believes that? Because when you look at the numbers that are being presented, this is a terrible deal as compared to the one that they had at Howard Terminal in Oakland.
Howard Terminal? I mean, Cofield. Whoa. I don't know how many people in Las Vegas are even aware of Howard Terminal. Like the name Howard Terminal, for that to be included here. Like, you know, when you talk about credibility points, woo, that just shot through the roof. Howard Terminal was mentioned. Here's somebody who, again, has not familiar at all, but you could see the level of detail and understanding here to know about at least even bringing up the name Howard Terminal. Because most other news stations and stories, attendance, Coliseum, bad record. Here's somebody actually talking about Howard Terminal and that negotiation as it got paused.
So who believes this, right?
It's a good guy, Steve. It's the most money that's being spent by a team in a public-private partnership.
I saw people point out that even like factoids on the Yankees, their deal,
which was the other most expensive ballpark, I think, in big league history. And Citi Field, also obviously being in New York, way up there in cost.
And that was misrepresented, that the Yankees got in excess of like $1.5 billion now and in the future to build their stadium from the public. So, but it's part of the whole shell game that all these major league sports and their owners play, and the commissioners are right there for it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I think that's the end of the clip. By the way, one of the reasons people love the Golden Knights, no public money for anything at all. The team, the arena, anything they've done. All right, I think this must be the last one from Fox 5.
Heard from lawmakers and the team itself, but what do Vegas locals have to say about the A's stadium potentially coming to the Strip? We asked them.
Kind of nostalgia here in Vegas, so you're kind of letting nostalgia go to bring something new.
Sorry, is that the graphics covering, is that a Ron Burgundy shirt there? It says, I love Scotch. I'm just catching that. Scotch.
And out with the old and in with the new, but is it what Vegas locals want? On Friday, the Oakland A's released these conceptual renderings of their potential Las Vegas stadium site, pictured where the Tropicana Hotel now stands.
Sorry, this clip is glitchy a little bit. Again, there's the rendering. Where's the hotel around it? Where's the two loop stops? That's going to take up some real estate on the ground. Is that stadium right there? Are you telling me if that big square, like from the hotel on I don't know what it's called, on the east side to the Strip on the west to Tropicana Avenue to the south side, that square that's kind of illuminated, if that's 35 acres, are you telling me that stadium's only taking up 9? Come on.
It's an old property. It needs either a major facelift. So it's not going away. It's just going to be rebuilt.
Sad to see
It's not going away. It's just going to be rebuilt. Well, yes and yes. It is going away, and it is going to be rebuilt to something else. Again, but that must be if you don't have a super connection to it. All of that is true.
Canada, it's one of my favorite hotels on the Strip. So it is kind of sad, but it's cool to see new changes being made to the Strip. So I'm excited for it.
Traffic and safety concerns on the minds of some locals we spoke to.
I mean, every story has mentioned traffic concerns, which again, they're covering this for a reason. This is why I'm watching them and seeing what they're saying. This, until you can get this part addressed and answered, I think it's still going to always be a question.
The state plans.
I know a lot of people have been wondering how parking's going to work.
Yeah.
Parking, crowdedness, it'd be just different.
Different?
There's already so much stuff going on here.
While others see it as an opportunity for an economic boost.
It's going to bring more opportunities to the city, more jobs, more things to do. So it's a win for the city.
Hal the hot dog guy. Hal, did you license this footage to Fox 5?
I'm not an A's fan, but, I'm excited.
And as for how the stadium will be funded, a bill was introduced Friday night proposing $180 million in Nevada tax credits, $120 million in Clark County bonds, and $25 million in Clark County funding. A poll on the state legislature's website.
This clip is making me so angry that it's skipping like that.
Shows that as of 7 p.m. Sunday, out of more than 1,100 submissions, only 28% of people were in favor of the Las Vegas Ballpark
And it's obviously gone down to about 20% as it's exponentially grown 3 times.
Stadium bill, while 71% are opposed.
So what do you think of the plans to build the stadium on the Strip and the funding bill? If you want to weigh in, we have a poll of our own with this story on fox5vegas.com.
Maybe I should go check that one out. All right, that is the last clip. So there you go. Episode probably like 5 or 6, or I don't know how many times I've done this, but it's interesting. It's fascinating. We always take something away from having a look at Las Vegas media and how they're covering potential A's relocation. Hey, you made it here all the way to the end, which I greatly appreciate. Thumbs up on that. Also, subscribe to the channel so I can make sure to see you next time. Take care.